What's up everyone, this is Bill with BLR Tuning. Today I got a little video for you guys. This is going to be your installation video, and as well as me showing off the brand new product that I'm releasing. This is the two-step launch control mechanism for Honda Grom. It works with Power Commander 5. So you will have to have Power Commander 5 in order to use this product. But this will be plug and play if you have Power Commander 5 installed. And it will work if you have Pod 300, wideband, WB2, if you have all the quick shift, if you have all the accessories installed on Power Commander 5. This just uses one of the switch inputs, which is that set of holes that you see on the side of Power Commander 5 for plugging in different wires. You can plug in a switch input and that's all it uses. And then it's programmable through the Power Commander 5 software. So I'm going to go over the unpackaging here, the installation process, very simple. Like I said, it's plug and play, it's very easy. And then I'm going to go over the software part of it in Power Commander 5. Pretty much you just need to turn it on in Power Commander 5 software. We'll go over that. There is settings that you can play with. Okay, so we'll unpackage it here. I'll show you what you get in the box. You're going to have two zip ties in there. Of course, you got a DynoJet decal, the BLR tuning decal. This is going to be the switch that activates the two-step launch control. Of course, you got your wire here. This is going to run down by the clutch mechanism at the motor where you see the clutch arm moving. And then this is going to come up to Power Commander 5 and plug into that switch input. And then, of course, you got your steel bracket. It's painted black. This is how all of them are. Okay. So it's a very simple process. It uses one of the engine mounting bolts. Okay, I'll go over everything that you need to do. I got the torque specs for you. Real simple tools. We're going to go out in the shop here. I'm going to show you what tools you need to do the job. Okay, and if you want to place an order, these are $65 shipped anywhere in the U.S. I use 3-day priority shipping with USPS. And you can get a hold of me through the BLR Tuning Facebook page, or you can message me directly. I can take your order that way. Okay, there'll be a link in the description down below to find me on all social media and be able to place your order for this. Remember, this is Power Commander 5, Honda Grom, two-step launch control. Okay, let's go check it out. The tools that you're going to be using. Very simple to install this. You're going to need a pair of needle nose pliers. You're going to need a socket and a 14 millimeter socket and a wrench. You're going to need a 14 millimeter open end wrench or box wrench will work. Okay, that's for the engine bolt. The pliers are just to feed the spring, to pull on the spring and get it up over the clutch arm. You're going to need a 17 millimeter wrench. That is for the switch that activates the two-step. That's to tighten those nuts that are on there, on the switch. A pair of wire cutters. These are just for cutting the ends off of the zip ties. You can use a pair of scissors if you want. A flathead screwdriver. That's a real small flathead screwdriver. This is for the flathead screws that are on the back of Power Commander 5. That's where we're going to be feeding in our wires. So you're going to need to loosen those up before you feed them in there and then tighten them back down. Give them a little tug, make sure they're snug in there. And then a torque wrench. The engine mounting bolt is 39.82 foot-pounds. That is the torque specs for it on all Honda Groms. If you don't want to use a torque wrench, you can just wrench it down there. It's totally up to you. I torque my stuff down, but some people just give it the old ugga-dugga. So anyways, those are the tools that we're going to be using. That's everything you'll need to do this install. Okay, so we'll take a look at it on the bike and get it all installed. Okay, this is my 2018 Honda Grom SF, known as Gromzilla. Okay, obviously I have Power Commander 5 under the seat. I also have WB2 and I have Pod 300. All you have to have for this to work is the Power Commander 5. Okay, and this also has the DynoJet quick shift around here on the other side, right down here. Okay, so it'll work with all of it. Or it'll work with just the Power Commander 5. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is obviously we're going to remove the seat so we can get under there to the Power Commander 5. You do not have to take off this side panel. If you want to, if you want to run the wire a little, maybe you have a certain order that you're wanting to run it in or whatnot, you can take off this side panel. It's a pretty easy, pretty straightforward to take this side panel off, but you don't have to with this kit. Okay, you can feed it through. There will be a hole to feed it through. And zip tie it down at the bottom, zip tie it up at the top. Okay, and where we're going to go is to this arm here. So this is what pulls your plunger in and out for your clutch. So when we squeeze the clutch, this arm moves. Pardon the dirty bike. But when you squeeze the clutch, this arm moves. So the switch mechanism is going to hook onto this. And we're going to be using that bolt right there. And that bolt is 39.82 foot-pounds. Okay, that's what it gets torqued down to. That's your upper engine bolt in the upper engine mounting bolt back here. Okay, so that's the bolt that we're going to use. See there, that's a 14 millimeter nut on this side. Has a 14 millimeter bolt head on the other side. So you can put your box wrench on the other side, or your open end wrench on the other side if it tries to spin on you. And then your socket's going to come right out here. Okay, and don't mind the brake setup that I have or the rear sets that I have. This will work with factory rear sets installed. Okay, so basically our bracket's going to bolt right there after we take that nut off. Okay, and I'll show you how all that goes, and then we're going to remove the seat, and I'll show you where the Power Commander 5 is. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is remove the seat. So that's your little key switch over here. Set that aside. Okay, then we got Power Commander 5 right there under the seat. Okay, so you can see there we got Power Commander 5 under the seat. 5 in the instruction book that comes with Power Commander 5 shows that these inside, so you have the holes right here. Oh, focus, there we go. So you have these holes right here. Okay, this is your main harness. These are your CAN bus plugs, 1 and 2. Okay, this is your main harness here. So the first 2 holes, you'll see in the Power Commander 5 software, I'll put a screenshot up here as well. But it says, one of them says shifter, one of them says map for these first 4 holes. Okay, so what these are is the first 2 are shift input 1, the second 2 are shift input 2. Okay, so you're allowed 2 switches. This is a basic on and off switch. So when you break that connection, it is off. When the connection touches, it is on. Okay, so what we're going to be wiring into, obviously you can see I have quick shift here. This is a speed sensor wire, and this is a temperature sensor wire. This isn't important at all for you that's just installing the 2-step. So if you're just installing the 2-step, you can use switch input 1. That's these first 2 holes. If those are taken, use switch input number 2, and that's what we're going to be using. On the bottom here, you should have a rubber plug covering up these holes. These holes are where the small flathead screws are. Okay, so what we're going to do is, and the wire that comes in the kit is already tinned. It's already got solder on the ends of it, so it should shove right into these. You can take a little small poker and poke through those holes to open them up a little bit, but you don't have to. You can shove the wires through. It can be kind of challenging though. So basically you're going to loosen those 2 screws on the back, and then you're going to shove the wires in, and we're going to tighten those down. That will be how you'll plug it in. So the first thing we need to do is go down below to the bike and install the actual switch mechanism and everything and get that set up. And then we'll feed our wire down, we'll plug it in, and then we'll come in and plug it in up here at Power Commander. So the first thing we're going to do is this upper back engine mount. That nut right there on this side is what we're going to be taking off. Remember, this is going to be 39.82 foot-pounds when you're putting it back on. So if you're like me and you're all about torquing everything back down to spec, then you're going to need a torque wrench to torque it back down to 39.8. But if you insist on doing it the other way, it's about 3 ugga-duggas. Okay, so we got that nut off of there. So now our bracket. So here's our bracket, and you'll see your bracket's going to have this little curved part. It will only fit one way. This bolt hole fits snug on this bolt, and the switch fits snug in here. So the switch will not fit in this hole. So you'll see how it has this little curve cut into it. That's the top. And this L bracket faces out towards you. So what we want to do is we're going to take our switch here that came in the package. We're going to take this top nut off of there. Okay, we're going to slide it over that spring. And now from the back, remember this is the top here, the curve. So the switch goes like this. And it's going to sit in there like that. Our wiring is going to come from behind the plastic. So it's going to need to be facing up like this. Okay, and then you're going to take that other little nut. You can put it on there. Like so. Okay, so our little switch, remember our wire is going to be facing up. And this is where your 17mm wrench is going to come into play here. So we want our wire facing up like this. And now we're just going to tighten this down. Remember, you're threading onto plastic here, so don't go crazy. Snug is good. If it don't move around, that's how then it's tight enough. Okay, so now this is going to sit back there on that bolt sticking out. So we can come in from the back here. This spring, this hook here, is going to hook up here onto the clutch mechanism. So we need to put it underneath here. Okay. We're going to make sure we got that on there. And now our needle nose pliers. We're going to grab this little guy, and it's going to sit right up there like that. Okay. And now we're going to put our 14mm nut back on. Remember, 39.8 foot-pounds. Remember, you might have to use a box wrench on the end, on the other side, if it's trying to spin on you. I've had a couple of them spin on me, and I've had a couple of them just lock right up and go. So, the idea is that this is sitting pretty much level. That curved part I talked about on the top of the bracket needs to just sit level. Okay, because the idea is that nothing is touching, so this spring that comes out should not be touching the top of the case, or the top of the motor there. It should not have anything interfering with it actually turning. Okay, and you'll see that cutout is because the frame comes upward like that, and sometimes that weld is kind of a crappy weld, and it'll have a bunch of junk right there that you won't be able to actually get a flat bracket in there. So we have to do it like that. Okay, I'll come back and torque that down, but you get the idea. Okay, so there's that. There's our switch mechanism. That's what is going to activate the two-step launch control. Let me readjust the camera here. Okay, so now you'll see what happens here. When I squeeze the clutch, you see this plunger getting pulled back here. Okay, so right now, clutch is in. What's going to happen is in Power Commander 5 software, you can set up a timer. So we're going to put it at half a second. Normal, everyday riding, you'll never hit two-step by accident at half a second. Less than that, maybe. But you're never going to be holding the clutch in for half a second while you're just trying to bang through the gears, right? So the idea is, I hold it, there's half a second, it's now in two-step, I can go wide open throttle, and it's only going to rev up to what we set it at. As soon as I let out, it comes out of two-step, and is back to wide open throttle. Okay, and you can set this to whatever you want in Power Commander 5 software. So we can have it on this bike. It's set up at 7,800 RPM. You could set it up at 3,000. You could set it up at whatever RPM you want. You can have this on a timer on however much time you want. I recommend half a second and about 6,000 RPM for your rev limit to start out at until you get used to it and feel how you like it on the bike. Okay, so you can see how that works. So now we got to run our wire down, and it's going to plug into our switch here. Okay, so you can see here we have the male and female wire for our two-step switch. Those are going to sit up here like this. Okay, we're going to keep them away from this exhaust. If you have the high mount exhaust, that's something you just want to be aware of where you run these wires. Okay, so our goal is to try to get them to feed down on the other side of this mounting point, so back here, and come over, and then we'll pull up that excess and zip tie it up out of the way, up underneath here, and plug into Power Commander 5. Okay, so let's run the wire. Okay, next step, we're going to feed this wire down. Like I said, you don't have to remove this plastic. If you look through there, you can see daylight. Okay, so you can see there, we got the wire ran. And now we are going to plug in our switch. Male goes into male, or male goes into female. Female goes into the other male. You get the idea. You can only plug in one way. Okay. Now we got that ran where we want it. I'm actually going to... Remember, if you have to unplug them, make sure you're grabbing the red connectors. Don't grab the wire and pull on the wire. You don't want to rip it out of there and damage it, right? So we're going to run it on the other side of this brake cable here. And like I said, there is dielectric grease already in there. Okay, now we have the wire up here at Power Commander 5, and we're going to plug that in. I'll show you how I ran. Okay, I'll show you how I ran my wire for the two-step. Okay, what I did is I snaked it right down through there. So right in this corner of the frame, there will also be a hole on this side that you can get it down also. But I put it over there, and now obviously we're going to zip tie the rest of this wire out of the way. We're going to plug into Power Commander 5 here, but I left it this long in the kit so that way you can reach your Power Commander no matter where you have it installed on the Grom. Some people even have it up here. Most people have it right here on top of the battery. Okay, so we have it snaked down, and it'll come out right here, right? And then we've ran our little connectors underneath the brake cable here, and we're going to zip tie it to this brake wire. So we're going to use one of our zip ties in the kit right here. We use one of those zip ties right there. So it's zip tied out of the way. It's not going to touch our exhaust. Plenty of clearance. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to loosen the screws on the back of here. You see these are some flathead. Oop. There you go. Some flathead screws. We need to loosen those middle two, and then we're going to stuff our wires into there. It does not matter which one goes into which. Okay, the red and black wire here. It doesn't matter which one goes into which. Okay, so we'll get that done. Then we'll zip tie the rest of this wire up here out of the way. We'll zip tie it with this cluster here, so it's out of our way. And we'll put our other zip tie. You remember, you get two in the kit. You need one for here, one for up here. And that's it. Okay, and then we'll hop on the software part of it. Now we'll show you how the two-step works. One thing I want to go over real quick, this is very important. When your clutch is not squeezed, this plunger should be all the way in, right? You should not be able to push it in any further. It should be all the way closed. This means that the two-step is not armed. Okay, so as soon as you squeeze that clutch, this plunger pulls out. It only needs to move a little bit and it will activate the two-step. It'll go into that mode, you know, on the timer. So you can adjust these nuts to get this to the right depth, you know. See, we still have threads in the back, we still have threads in the front. So that will adjust the distance that this whole mechanism is away from this arm. Right, so when it's right now, the clutch isn't squeezed, the plunger is all the way in. And this isn't bouncing around or flopping around, it's not loose. Okay, so just make sure you got it adjusted correctly. You know, if this plunger is sticking out at all when the clutch isn't squeezed, you're going to be in two-step and not understand what's going on. So I just wanted to go over that little part real quick. Okay, so now we have Power Commander 5 plugged in, kill switch in the run position, key in the on position. Okay, now we're ready to go. We're going to hit open Power Commander 5 software. We're going to select no. We're going to hit get map. That's going to get anything current that's on the bike. Okay, and then obviously you have your target AFR, fuel trims, ignition. Okay, what we're looking at is Power Commander Tools. We're going to go to Power Commander Tools. We're going to go to Configure. We're going to go to Feature Enables. And now you'll see a series of options here. We want to check the one that says Launch Control. And I am using switch input number 2. If you use that one that's closest to the main harness, the two holes there, that would be switch input number 1. Okay, so you can see here you have switch input number 1, switch input number 2. On this bike, it's switch input number 2. Now we're going to go to Configure. And then you'll see there, that's how I have it configured on this bike. Remember, so I'm sitting at 0.2, that's 0.2 of a second, and then it activates launch control. I would recommend starting at half a second, so 0.5. And you want to check the box that says use timer to arm. Set this to 0.5. That's how long you squeeze in the clutch before the switch says, okay, now I'm active. Right? So 0.2 of a second means I squeeze the clutch in for 0.2 of a second and I'm in two-step. Half a second, you'd squeeze the clutch in for half a second and now you're in two-step. Okay? And the switch is always on. You're going to put this active switch style. You can put it on normally open. Your other option is normally closed. We are going to leave this on normally opened. Okay, so you want to make sure that's on normally open. That's the type of switch that we use for this kit. And then you can set your launch RPM. So that's at wide open throttle. It will only rev to 7,550 RPM when it's in two-step. Okay, so that's how you set it up. You can set this however you want. I recommend starting at half a second and 6,000 RPM. Try it there, see how you like it. Okay, so we're going to hit OK, and we're going to hit OK here. It's going to apply the settings to our Power Commander. Now, if we've done anything else, like accept trims from AutoTune, adjust the fuel map, the target AFR map, if we've done anything else in here, we are always going to hit send map. This is sending this map that we got from the bike, made our adjustments, and now we're sending it back to the bike. And you'll see down here in the corner, it's always going to say whatever you last did. So map sent successfully, no device errors, and it does say 2 devices connected over here in this left-hand corner. You can see there, 2 devices connected. That's because it's detecting my wideband 2, and it's detecting my Power Commander. So now we are safe to exit off of everything. And we can close the computer down. And now we are ready to hear our new two-step launch control on the bike functioning. So I'll let you guys hear that. Remember, it's Bill with BLR Tuning. hit me up if you guys want to order one of these. They're $65. That includes 3-day priority shipping anywhere in the US. Okay? All the information to get a hold of me is in the description below this video. Hope to see you guys out there ripping and enjoying some two-step launch control working with your Power Commander 5 on your Honda Grom. This will fit any year of the Honda Grom. It fits from the 13 OG all the way into the 19 and 20 SF. It fits all of them. Okay? You guys have a good day. Thanks for watching. I'll let you check out some two-step action with the Grom. Peace. Two-step launch control for Power Commander 5 for the Honda Grom.